In 1998, BHP Billiton entered into the first major project in Mozambique for some 30 years, the building of Mozal, an aluminium plant. The construction of the plant was in an environment where BHP required tremendous courage and vision to build an aluminium plant worth over $1 billion in a country that essentially had been at civil war for some 17 years. In that context, to go into one of the poorest countries in the world, build a $1 billion aluminium plant required great foresight. Instead of the usual formula of bringing in a whole lot of expatriates to run the project, they sought to train and equip the local Mozambicans. So in the construction of the plant, 10,000 were employed in building the plant, and of the 1,200 workers that work there today, 90% are local Mozambicans. So the key here is to actually involve your business with the locals, build sustainability into their communities so that you generate wealth on a local level.
The agreement and commitment of Mozal right at the beginning was not only to build and operate the plant, but also to upgrade the country's economy and skills. So this training center is open to everyone, to every company. So the country ultimately gains out of that.
It's not about corporate philanthropy. It's really about finding a business case where there's benefit for the community and benefit for the company. Perhaps the best example of that in Mozal was the problem with malaria. When we first started to build the project, there was about an 85% infection rate. We were able to take that down to about 15%, so a huge change. But how that reflects on our bottom line is that malaria-related absenteeism was up as high as 20% at the start. We've been able to take that down to under 1%. So there's a huge business case for Mozal the business, but for Mozal's place in the community, obviously there's a huge community benefit in being able to reduce malaria and all the suffering that goes along with that.
So while the project is a one-off, very large project, but it's one aluminium plant, the trickle-down benefit in upskilling all the locals in construction techniques, management skills, farming techniques is that they develop self-sustainability so that over the long term you've got the people of Mozambique able to generate wealth for themselves.
Mozal means a lot to us because now we managed to take our children to schools and we became rich because of Mozal, and we managed to sell our crops to other shops in town.
So Mozal is just one example on how a leading Australian company has employed very poor people in one of the hardest environments in the world. So when we look at where Australia is, in our part of the world, Asia Pacific holds 2/3 of the world's poor. So surely there is a great number of opportunities for Australian companies to look at linkages for their business in those communities.